right, welcome to Nobody's Listening, So Who Cares? I am your co-host, Sam, and as joining me as always is your co-host, Spencer. Before we start, we just wanted to do a little bit of self-promotion, no shame. If you're liking some of the content, follow us on our Instagram. It's just at Nobody's Listening, SWC. And also, we just joined Clubhouse. So find us on Clubhouse. And yeah, we're going to start recording our podcast live on Clubhouse. So if you want to do like any Q&A afterwards, we will start doing that here in the coming weeks. So anyway, now that the shameless plug is over, Spencer, how you doing? How's your week been? What's going on?
I'm good, man. Light work week this week because it was in the freezing temperatures most of the time, and there's still snow on the ground. And if you know anything about northwestern Tennessee, a lot of stuff shuts down when there's snow. I know, Sam, your brother was supposed to come into town, and unfortunately, we had to cancel that because I don't even know if I can drive the 45-minute drive down to Nashville. But it was nice.
You told me about that. That sucks. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Does Tennessee, like in your area, because Tennessee's relatively flat. Do you guys have like snowplows and stuff out there?
So we have snowplows. One day I just waited around my apartment complex because they told me they were going to snowplow my apartment complex, and the only street that they didn't snowplow was mine. So my truck was still stuck out in the snow. But all the other streets were really nice. So as soon as I dug out of the snow and got to the main street, it was all good. And now most of the roads have been pretty clear, but Tennessee has maybe like 2 bags of salt in it, I guess, because nobody salts the roads and they freeze all the time. And especially like where I work, it just wasn't feasible for all of us to get over there for work. So I worked on Wednesday this week, and that was it. So it was a bit bizarre.
That's nice though.
Oh, it was very, very nice. I got a chance to catch up on some stuff, go grocery shopping, hang out. But it is weird. This happens once every few years, I think. But yeah, it just kind of shut everything down, which was kind of weird.
That's cool. Yeah, I, as always, stuck in terrible Southern California weather where it was legit like 73 again today, a little bit of wind, and completely sunny.
Yeah, I hate you.
So that's nice. So I wanted to jump into something. We have a lot to get to, actually. I've been like really excited for this episode this week because we have a lot of stuff to talk about today. So the first thing I want to talk about is it's sports related, but I kind of wanted to turn it into like a moral debate for a second. So being from Southern California, unfortunately, I've been a Padres fan my whole life. And for anyone that follows sports, you instantly have pity for me. The Padres have been one of the worst franchises in sports history for my entire life. So anyway, they're on the uptick right now. And I don't really want to talk about Padres or like the sport itself. I want to talk about Fernando Tatis Jr. So he is the next up-and-coming big name in baseball. And the Padres got him. He's this young I don't know where he's from. But his dad played in the pros. Anyway, so he is awesome. Brings so much energy to the sport. He is just so fun to watch, and he's so damn good. Mm-hmm. So he just signed a record-breaking deal on Wednesday. He signed a 14-year, $340 million contract for the next 14 years. Mm. So, yeah, it's huge. I mean, baseball is starting to have these because they don't have a salary cap, so these contracts are just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It's crazy. Yeah. So, something I didn't know about this contract. So, this is what I want to talk to a little bit. So, this is some interesting stuff in here. So I saw an article, it was actually on Barstool Sports. They broke down how much money he was actually going to make over these next 14 years. He's 22 years old, mind you. 22 years old, just signed a $340 million contract. So I have some stuff on my phone. So basically there's this company, their name is Big League Advance. And what they do is they're like an investment firm. So they find some of these minor league players before they have a chance to even play in the pros. They give them contracts, essentially saying, hey, we'll give you this money now, but if you make it big, we get a percentage of your big payout when you get to the major leagues.
And that percentage is probably differs per contract.
Yeah, I think so. I didn't look too much into like the nitty gritty details, but so here's the interesting part. Tatis signed one of these deals.
Okay.
So essentially, he gets, let's see, I have it broken down here. So $340 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good old Uncle Sam, because he lives in California, and then also the federal tax, will take about 191 million of that 340 million.
Ouch.
So that hurts, right? You know, is he still okay? He's still going to take home a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
But now, Big League Advance had a high enough percentage where they're going to take another $27 million from this contract.
So what's the percentage on that? What are the points on that?
Let's see. I don't know if I saw the actual percentage.
Because that's 8%. Not that much for
average. Their average is 8%, which is still like, oh, that's not that much. But think about it. That's 30 million or about 27 million plus the 191 million, and then that doesn't take into account the management fees, which are usually 4 to 10%.
Mm-hmm.
So you know the Barstools. I can link in our YouTube. I can link the article that breaks this down. You can actually read it into the details. But at the end of the contract, after taxes, after this big league advance fee, after his management fees, he's taking home $115 million over 14 years, which is still a lot of money. But if you think about it, for somebody who is at his status compared to like a lot of these other players, it's only made $8 million a year. Obviously, he's going to get endorsement deals and all that kind of stuff. And I'm saying only, but if you think about it, $340 million broken down to now $8 million a year isn't as much as it sounds. So my question to you is a company like Big League Advance, is this ethical? Do you find this to be an ethical practice? Do you think this should be allowed or not?
Well, I mean, here's the thing you got to keep in mind is he signed on that dotted line saying that if he were to make a pro contract, he would owe them 8%. So, I mean, do I feel bad for the guy? Like, no, I don't. But I mean, is it kind of shitty? Like, yeah. I mean, obviously, right? Like you said, top up and comer, is doing really well, should be compensated for that against his peers. And I think that's where you look at it as well is how well paid is he in compared to the people who share his kind of star status on different teams around the league and stuff like that, or on the Padres itself. But I mean, the thing about it is he got paid when he was in the minor league. That's what it sounds like to me, right? This guy signed a deal.
It wasn't that. I mean, it's not that much. It's definitely. I don't know if I have it where how much he got paid while he was in the minors. I don't know if we have that actual number. But continue.
But I mean, the fact of the matter is, at the end of the day, he signed on the dotted line. So I don't feel bad that he made a contract. Now, I would say whoever told him to sign that contract or whatever. I assume it must be hard as a minor league baseball player. You're obviously not making the money that the pros are, right? Just like in any sport. But he wanted the money then, and he's paying for it now, which that 8% is a lot. I get that. The taxes is a whole other thing.
That's something we can get into another day.
Like that's like regardless, like, you know, is the tax rate too high on that? Like, I'm not going to be the one to tell you. I'm not running for an office. I'm not telling you it should be lower or higher. I'm going to make it anyway. But I mean, it does suck. I mean, $340 million contract dwindles down to like, what'd you say? 119,
115 after everything.
So less than half of that.
Less than half.
Yeah. That far less than half. That's
crazy.
Yeah. I mean, but I mean, I could say that it doesn't seem like the most ethically upstanding thing to do is be this other contract giver. I think that's a little shady.
Well, here's an argument for it. So they're also taking chances on quite a few other minor leaguers who never end up making it. Yeah. So a contract like this does kind of help out those other guys who aren't going to make that $340 million contract or maybe never even make the pros. So this gives some guys, because minor leaguers, like, a lot of people don't know this. Minor league baseball players don't make they make like the single A guys are making like 30 grand a year. I don't know if it's gotten better since then, but it used to be like 30 grand a year. They're taking buses everywhere, staying in like shitty motels. Like it's not minor league baseball is not a fun life. I mean, yeah, you get to pay baseball as like your job, but you're not making that much money. Those guys all have jobs during the off season.
Oh yeah.
So to someone who's poor and coming up and has wants to take a chance, this might be a really good opportunity for them. But what's weird is Fernando Tatis. What's the weird thing about his actual his specific situation is his dad played in the pros. Like his dad was a major league baseball player. That's why he's Fernando Tatis Jr. He's like his dad played in the pros. He was a decent player. So it's weird that he took this contract, knowing that his dad made some good money. He has those good genes. He was one of the. I mean, he wasn't like the prospect coming out of high school, but he was still up there. It was weird that I don't know who told him to sign that, but I don't know. I don't know where that came from. I just don't think that was a great idea.
No, I mean, like I said before, he signed the dotted line that said, "I'll pay when the time is coming up." And I mean, here's the thing: is I'm sure that there are these minor league baseball players that sign these contracts, don't make it, get paid, whatever, and this is going to help that company float. But I guarantee you, this company's not. I mean, their return on investment must be pretty high. They must be.
Well, it has to be. I mean, it has to be worth it for them to take these chances.
100%. It sounds like it's pretty smart of them to do this. I wish that I was that guy making that commission on that contract.
Yeah, that's quite a bit, man. They're $27 million off one guy. I mean, I didn't really look into who else has had to pay these guys, but obviously it's enough. Like they obviously make enough money for them to pay some of these other minor leaguers.
Yeah,
and I'm sure a lot of the guys they invest in don't ever make it, and they make a dime off of them. So, yeah, I don't know, but all right, let's move on. We have a new segment. We're going to be trying out some segments, but we have a new segment that we wanted to give a shot, and it's called our top sevens. Yeah, super original. I know. We didn't want to do top fives. We didn't want to do top tens. We wanted to be
right
sevens.
there. Yeah, we want to be right there in the middle. Just it's a super odd number,
Yeah, I mean, lucky number 7. So we decided to start this week. I don't know if we'll do this. I don't think we'll do this every week, but this will just be kind of like a reoccurring segment that we bring up. But this one is our top 7 franchises. So as loosely as we could make it, it's just franchises. So anything's a franchise, and that's as specific as we want it to be.
I had to look up the definition of franchise to give me inspiration for this. So
do you have the definition on hand?
Yeah. So I whittled it down so that I could understand it. So for anybody who's listening, this is basically what we're going to list. Anywhere where there is a licensing of brand, intellectual property, or business model. So think McDonald's, or like the MCU, or different movie franchises, different video game franchises. And we're not going to exclude this list. I think it's narrow-minded of us to exclude this list to just one thing. So we're not going to just do top 7 food franchises. We're just going to do top 7 franchises. So it makes no sense. And we're going to be ranking food franchises up against video game franchises, up against movie franchises.
Yeah, I think they get it. So why don't you start? We're gonna start from 7 and go down to 1. And I don't know how this is gonna go, so we're just gonna give it a shot.
Yeah. So my number 7, 1. So this 7-Eleven, because it starts with the 7. So let me give you my little 2 cents. So one is you got Slurpees, which everybody loves a Slurpee, right?
And July 7th or July 11th, everyone gets a free one.
It's Slurpee Day. It's a national holiday, pretty much. It's not, but it should be. I think it's the number 4 biggest retailer worldwide last year, which is awesome. And another thing was when I was 4 years old, I went into a 7-Eleven with my family, and I walked out with
real guy.
No, I found my imaginary friend named Jur. And one time I went into a 7-Eleven and he got lost there. So everybody go to your local 7-Elevens. If you find my imaginary friend named Jur, tell him I've been looking for him.
Yeah, and that's something he'll talk to his therapist about. My number 7 is Denny's. And I didn't really look into the analytics of where Denny's is on as far as restaurants go. But all I know is Denny's is my favorite hangover food because I can get a everyday value slam for $4.
Yeah,
And I used to live literally like my backyard was a Denny's when I lived in a previous apartment. And I didn't go there as much as I would have hoped. But I think it's because they burned my pancakes, which I didn't know was possible. But that was the only bad eating experience I had at Denny's. Every other Denny's that I've been to, I've actually enjoyed. I know that's an unpopular opinion, but I do like Denny's.
I like Denny's more than IHOP.
Yeah, IHOP has like this superiority complex about them, where they're like, "Oh, we're going to charge you $12 for just blueberry pancakes."
Yeah, and they're the international house of pancakes, and it's the most white trash pancake place I've ever been to.
Yeah, sorry if that's alienating any of our non-existent audience. Okay, what's your number 6?
Okay, my number 6 is Cold Stone. Another one that was a high performer last year. I didn't look up the numbers for all of them, but my favorite thing about Cold Stone, I think it's Cold Stone. I went into a Cold Stone once, and it's customary. You got to tip the people who help you out, right? I mean, it's a nice thing. Yeah. But at Cold Stone, I think it's Cold Stone. They make the employees sing or say thank you when you tip. So one time I didn't know that this happened, and I put money in the tip jar, and they all started singing to me or whatever. Maybe this is a regional thing, but I was clapping along. I was like, man, what's happening? Am I in a musical? Am I losing my mind? Am I off my meds? But no, it was just what they do. And I think that's just an awesome practice. And so that's why I put Cold Stone on there.
See, I had this argument with a coworker about Cold Stone because I don't buy into the hype of Cold Stone. I'm personally more of a frozen yogurt guy myself, but I don't know. I feel like Cold Stone is one of those things too that they overcharge for what they give you. I don't know. I haven't been to Cold Stone in a while, so maybe that was just me when I used to have no money, and so $5 on ice cream seemed like a fortune. Maybe I gotta revisit it.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been to a Cold Stone since I was in high school, so I'm not going to say I'm a frequent customer of there, and I certainly don't go in there just to get people to sing when I tip them. I'm not that big of an asshole, I promise. But it's whatever.
So my number 6, switching it up, was Pixar, because who doesn't love Pixar? If you love Pixar, or if you don't love Pixar, then you don't belong on this planet. Because
let alone listening to this podcast, you don't belong on this planet. Wow, that's strong. No, it is true. I mean,
no, I think Pixar is just. I think the only duds they ever made were the Cars 2 and 3. Every other movie that they've made has been outstanding.
They made a Cars 3?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. I think they made a Cars 3.
Yeah, but
they were trying to make. Yeah, they did. They were trying to make up for how bad Cars 2 was, and they just made it worse.
Ooh.
But
did you see the?
Go ahead.
Did you see the newest Pixar movie?
Yeah,
The Soul. Was it good?
Incredible.
Okay, I'll have to watch.
So original, very deep for a kids movie.
Okay.
Because it was dealt with the overarching theme was finding your life's purpose.
Yeah.
And it dealt with afterlife and what happens after death and stuff. It's pretty crazy for a kids movie, but watching it as an adult, I thought it was awesome. I loved it. So highly recommend. All right, what's your number 5?
Check it out. My number 5 is it's got to be Olive Garden. If you got to know anything about me, it's that I love any Italian food, and I have a special affinity for Olive Garden. OG boy through and through. Their breadsticks and their salad, endless. What a great idea.
So, funny story about Olive Garden. Me and some friends back in college, we figured Olive Garden is a chain. It's probably not that expensive. We go and sit down. It's 6 or 7 of us. We go sit down at a table, and the lady walks up, or the waitress walks up and says, "Hey, would you guys like to try some free wine?" And we're like, yeah. So she pours us the wine. We all have to take a sip. And then she walks away, gives us the menus, and we all start looking at the menus. And we're like, oh, we can't afford this place.
Yeah.
So one by one, we just slowly got up and we left. And I felt so bad because I used to work at a restaurant, so I know how annoying that is. And we just like took free wine and we just left, but we could not afford that place.
Well, you know, she was probably just like, she went to the back and was like, great, another people who were just here for the free wine. That's why they don't do it anymore, though.
Yeah,
they don't do the free wine tasting. At least the Olive Gardens that I go to, they don't.
It's probably because of us.
You specifically, yeah, you were probably the last customers. But no, I think just on a general state, that's why they don't do it, because there's too many people like you, too many bad people in the world like you, Sam. Yeah,
I just think we were expecting, like Chili's prices.
Yeah, not quite. It is pretty expensive.
I think it's expensive for being a chain Italian place. That was but it is good. It is good. I'm not dogging on it.
The portions are big.
Yeah, but I feel like that's any Italian place you go to. That's just their thing.
That's true.
Yeah. All right. Well, my number 5, sticking with the movie theme, was Star Wars. Yeah. I don't know if you had this one, but
no, I knew you would have it, so I saved one spot for me.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Star Wars is just inarguably an American, like as close to like American traditions as we can have. Like, have you ever met someone that's never seen even a movie of Star Wars? Like,
no.
You look at them like they're an alien.
Yeah.
You haven't seen Star Wars? Are you kidding me? You've never. What planet are you from? Like, that's like, I feel like everybody has the exact same response to somebody who's never seen Star Wars.
No, 100%. It's definitely weird. I mean, now everybody does the May the 4th be with you or whatever. Once again, another pretty much national holiday.
Yeah.
It's so big. And I think the craziest thing is too, like my dad saw it in the theaters. So it's just something that a father passes on to his son, passes on to his kids, and just sits there and it says, hey, we're going to sit down, we're going to watch Star Wars, and you're going to get this culture that, because it has become just such a culture, I feel.
Yeah. I mean, I remember the day my dad showed me Star Wars. Like, I remember he was like, all right, you're old enough, we're going to watch Star Wars. And just the nostalgia that you feel just hearing even like John Williams' score, or hearing the sound of a lightsaber, and like the sound of a blaster rifle, any of those things, hearing the Darth Vader breathing. And now when I talk about Star Wars, I'm referring to the old Star Wars. I'm not talking about the new Disney bullcrap version of Star Wars.
Yeah, anything in the 90s and afterwards. But I wouldn't even say that. I mean, I didn't like the prequels going back. Yes, they're bad. But as a kid, those were like awesome. I saw them in theaters every year, and so there is a soft spot. I have rewatched them. It's not great, but it's not the worst thing. And I think if you compare those to the newest movies that came out, even like Solo and the new trilogy and all that. Now, Rogue One, I do like. I do kind
of like Rogue One.
I like Rogue One, and The Mandalorian is amazing.
Yeah, the second season's good.
You didn't like the first season?
It's just like The Mandalorian, and this could be a whole episode, but The Mandalorian is like
true.
There was no plot till halfway through season 2. It was just Mando like wandering the galaxy, being like, "Oh, let's go see what's over here. Oh, you need to help me with this, and I'll help you with that." And it was the same thing over and over and over again. I was like, "Dude, what the hell is the point of this? Like, get to the point." And they finally got somewhere, but without spoiling anything. I do enjoy. I think it's the best Star Wars product that's come out of Disney so far.
I think I do like it. It's better in a TV form, right? It's kind of hard to compare that in Rogue One, in my opinion. But I do agree with you. It is the best.
Okay, what's your number
4? So what are we on? Number 4?
Yes.
So I'm gonna throw a little curveball here. KFC, which on some list of the best franchises, it was number 1, even above McDonald's.
Wow.
But I don't know if that was just a mistake that some person made or whatnot. Anyway, it was in the top 5. I know that for a fact. It was either 3 or 2. But But I more specifically want to talk about, obviously this year or late last year, 2020, we had the console releases. We had the Xbox Series X and S, and we had the PS5. Very hard to get those right now, but they did come out. But I think KFC, no joke, has the console that's going to win the console wars. Have you seen this, Sam? Have you seen that they've released this KFC console? I'm not joking you. I'm not even kidding you. If you Google right now KFC gaming console, you'll find a KFC branded gaming console with a chicken warmer. So you can order KFC. I'm not bullshitting you. Like, this is 100% real. And it has a little oven that you're going to order your KFC and then put it in the oven, put it in there, play some Call of Duty, and then take it out when you're done with your game and eat your chicken. I'm not even kidding you.
Okay. I think you're getting punked.
No, I will send you.
I think somebody made Photoshop this or made a little animation thing to mess with people like you, because this isn't real.
No, 100%. I guarantee you, I promise you.
Have a gaming console.
How do I put something up on the screen? That KFC has a gaming console. See, I knew it would be controversial, but that's why I came in here with my dark horse. KFC secretly should probably be the number one slot.
Okay, this is. We'll put a pin in this one, and I will do my research, and we'll come back to it next week.
Yeah, we'll talk about it next week.
I have so many questions that I don't think we have time for. So let's just move on. Okay. This would actually probably surprise Spencer quite a bit that this isn't my number one. And I'm actually at number 4. And when you hear the other 3, it'll make sense. But number 4 is Red Robin. Those who know me know that Red Robin is my, the mecca for me of dine-in, mid-level, mid-tier restaurants. Mm-hmm. It is the Holy Grail, the whatever you want to call it, whatever religion, it doesn't matter. That is Red Robin to me.
Yeah, it's Sam's
the unlimited fries
with the campfire sauce.
Throughout college, me and my old roommate would go there at least once a week. I mean, everyone's got a place, a local. A lot of people have their regulars at their local bar or a nice Italian restaurant near them. No. Me and my buddy, we were the regulars at fucking Red Robin.
Hey, no shame in it. It's a wonderful establishment, but now you have me wondering what your top 3 are.
Yeah, but
because that's insane. I don't think anyone who's listening right now really understands how much Sam loves Red Robin.
No, I can't even put it into words.
It's a problem when you're at his house for 3 days and 2 nights he suggests Red Robin. Non-ironically, he's like, "Well, we could just go back to Red Robin, get another Red's Tavern double, and ultimate unlimited
fries. Get a beer for $3. I walk out of there with $10 spent, and a nice little tip, and that's it."
Yeah, I think what you can learn about Sam from this and the Denny's suggestion on the same list is that Sam might be a little on the cheap side.
Yeah, well, nobody needs to know that much about me, but yeah, we go with frugal. How about frugal? That's a better word.
Frugal. Frugal's a great word, Sam. I like it.
Okay, what's your number 3? Let's move on.
All right, my number 3. So I recently rewatched this with all the time that I had this week, but it's the Batman franchise, but it's more specifically, I think, the Nolan trilogy Batman series. I really do they just recently put the Batman animated series, the one that was always on those Saturday morning cartoons I would always watch. So I watched a little.
Is that the one Mark Hamill plays the Joker in that one?
Yeah. It's pretty much a lot of the same voice cast in the Arkham video games that I have played through.
I didn't know that.
But I think watching the Nolan Batman film specifically, I know for you and me, Sam, they were very influential movies. When we started to get more into film and watching movies, those were, our favorites that we would go to. The Dark Knight is spectacular. The performances performances in it are just amazing. I mean, Heath Ledger and Christian Bale and Michael Caine and Morgan Freeman all throughout all three. And a bit of a controversial take, Sam. I told you this earlier in the week. I think I might actually be a Dark Knight Rises apologist. I think watching it back to back to back like I did, I actually really liked The Dark Knight Rises a lot more than I remember liking it before when I saw it for the first time.
Yeah, I haven't watched The Dark Knight Rises in a while, and Nolan is one of my, if not my favorite director, and The Dark Knight is top 3 of my favorite movie of all time. It was number 1 for a while, but I juggle with that. The Dark Knight Rises it's a whole conversation, but I don't think it deserves the hate that it got, but it definitely is not. It might still be Nolan's worst movie. Actually, I argue it's Tenet, but we can have that conversation, a whole podcast about that movie.
I'm actually digging Tenet. I think I'm going to rewatch it because I watched some YouTube videos on it, and I think we need to have a whole podcast on that sometime.
Really good. We could. So, all right. Well, my number 3 is the greatest trilogy ever made, and I'm calling it a franchise. Is The Lord of the Rings.
Just The Lord of the Rings, not the Hobbit movies.
No, so I feel like I have to do all encompassing since we are doing franchises.
That's what I thought.
So The Hobbit, I think the original trilogy was so good, it makes up for The Hobbit being a dumpster fire.
Okay, it's good.
As well as there were some great video games that came out from Lord of the Rings. Shadow of Mordor.
Yeah,
which was one game of the year it came out, and I just think Lord of the Rings, and they didn't. What I love about Lord of the Rings as opposed to Star Wars is they didn't destroy it by all the merchandise. Yeah, obviously there was Lord of the Rings merchandise, but I mean Star Wars was just so in your face. I mean, still to this day you can buy lightsabers in every single store that has toys. I mean, if a store has toys in it, it's going to have some sort of Star Wars merchandise. And I think Lord of the Rings, obviously you see Lord of the Rings merchandise and not as much anymore. I think there will come out once the new show comes out. But I don't know. It just feels so classic. It still holds up to this day.
100%.
I mean, if not more now than ever.
Another one of those movies where your dad, or my dad at least, sat me down and said, we're gonna watch this. He had to leave. He left once the Fellowship got formed. So I think it was kind of a beautiful moment. He had to go off for a work trip. So we watched the first half of the Fellowship of the Ring, and he said, okay, now you got to watch the second half, tonight. And I watched that by myself. And then the next 2 days, man, I just watched The Two Towers and then Return of the King back to back to back. It's a formative moment in my
upbringing. I think every young boy should, and girl, honestly, should
100%.
watch that at some point in their in their adolescence. All right, let's move on. What's number 2 for you?
All right. My number 2, I think, oh man. I kind of have to choose because I decided I would choose between 2 at the last minute. But I think my number 2, I'm going to go with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, Sam, I know this is where our list is going to differ. But
disgusting.
But Sam, have you even watched Endgame? Have you seen Endgame?
I just lost so much interest. I think once Thor Ragnarok came out, I was like, I'm done. This is the stupidest franchise. I was done.
See, but Thor Ragnarok was the best Thor movie. See, I got out of the MCU and stopped going to the movies when the first 2 Thor movies were coming out because I thought they were garbage. I've seen them once. I've never wanted to rewatch them. I have no idea what they're about other than Thor's in them. But I went back and not one of those movies is
good. Yeah, I would agree.
No, I mean, you even liked the first Iron Man when it came out.
Yeah, but I don't even think that counts.
No, it is. It's the first one. It's a 19. No, even if it's not your favorite or even if you don't like it, I don't think you can argue that it is one of the best franchises, just in terms of most successful, most well-known, most popular on everybody's list, because it is good. It might not be high cinema like Martin Scorsese says, but it's movies. It's popcorn movies, man. It's enjoyable, and it's 19 years.
It depends on how you define best. And that's, I mean, we're doing tons of things that we could do full podcasts on. So I don't want to dive too much into it, but I think we can agree to disagree.
I also think that you don't like Marvel because so many people like it.
Nah, that would have been the old me, but I still don't. I've actually given it a chance. I've tried. There's only like three or four movies in that entire franchise that I think are like worth watching to me.
Yeah, I think you're wrong on that. But agree to disagree.
There we go. So I had the same. I had like a top two, and I wanted to. I was very torn on which one was gonna be my number one, but I think I just decided. So I'm gonna say my number two right now, and that is In-N-Out Burger.
It's not a franchise. I looked it up.
Okay, well, it's a franchise on my list.
Okay. Because I was gonna put it on my list, but I couldn't because it's not a franchise. But for the sake of this list, it is.
For the sake of this list, dude, there's no rules. Okay, there's no rules, and if there was, I wouldn't care.
Doesn't matter. Nobody's listening.
Yeah, you got that right. In-N-Out is the best fast food restaurant that there is, and I know the East Coast people will argue that it's not, and it's Shake Shack or Cow Turd or whatever else they eat out there. In-N-Out is number one. There is no 1A or 1B. It is just number one, and that's where I'm going to leave my argument. I don't even feel like I need to argue it because it just is.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. With the thing that kills me more than anything is knowing that I can't just go get In-N-Out. I really, really want an In-N-Out burger. Like right now.
Well, the thing, when you go on a trip, like the first thing you do when you land at the airport, where's the In-N-Out? We're going In-N-Out right now.
Yeah. We know where the ones we go to. Like, it's a thing. If you're a Californian and you fly back home, if you're away or you live somewhere else like me, you know that In-N-Out that you go to or your favorite In-N-Out. They all taste the same, but you have your In-N-Out and you always have that one that you go to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I know to the minute how long it takes to get from wherever I'm living to my closest In-N-Out. That's actually kind of how I've decided specific places that I've lived. Like, where is the In-N-Out? How close is it? Is it a good In-N-Out? I mean, there are some better ones than the others. Like, is it a drive-through only? Because drive-through only suck because it takes so long to get through the drive-through. There's different factors that really matter. And I honestly think In-N-Out being closer to where you live can really drive up your real estate.
I think they should factor that into the real estate markets in California, to be honest.
I agree. All right, what's your number one?
All right, my number one. So I put this on here as, I think, my favorite. I think no matter what, if you put one of these movies on, I will always watch it. And I did the James Bond franchise is my number one. Not all good movies. Some incredibly bad movies.
Yeah. But
no matter what, since I was a kid, it was the first series that I remember just going buck wild about. My dad would always put on the old ones, and everyone from Sean Connery, all the way up to Pierce Brosnan, which when we were kids, right, that was the one that was the most modern, right? I think his first one was in 1991 or 92 or whatever. And so that was the Bond that I grew up in. He has some of the worst Bond movies in all of the franchise. But they're so campy and lovable in a way because when I was a kid, it was just the coolest thing, right? Yeah. And me and my dad would always watch those movies and growing up. And now with the new ones, I mean, I think Casino Royale was amazing. I think Skyfall is one of my top 5 films, just for the impact that it was, the storyline leading up to it, and just how beautiful it was and how it made me just feel for James Bond, and it was a completely different spin for the entire series, even than the other recent James Bond movies.
Have you seen every single one?
I have not.
That'd be kind of fun to go through over a couple months and just watch from their release, like every single one.
So I saw that the box set, like the complete series of James Bond, is like $200 because there's like 30 films.
Well, good thing you can find them online for free.
No, I know. I'm just saying, not about the price. I'm just saying that's like 30 movies. And I know halfway through a marathon of that, I would be like, this is not.
Well, you can't marathon it. You would do it over the course of a few months.
No, I know, but I would like watch one a week for however long. I just think that I would just be like, I really don't feel like watching another bad James Bond movie.
Yeah, that's true.
Just like Lord of the Rings. Right. It's like, hey, you're going to watch Lord of the Rings once a week for, at a certain point, you're just like, okay.
Yeah, but Lord of the Rings is only 3 movies. It's not even comparable.
Okay, well, yeah, I guess.
Because I can watch I like to do the marathon of the extended editions like once a year, once every 2 years for Lord of the Rings, and I don't.
Yeah, I recently did mine, and you man, that's the Lord of the Rings thing. Well, we already talked about it.
All right, so my number one, and I'm surprised we haven't had any more of this category, but I'm wondering if you probably figured I would do this, but mine is the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah, I figured you would.
We haven't done any other sports franchises, which, I had a couple on there of my favorites, and I was sharing this list with my dad. He was like, what are you doing? Are you doing favorite? Are you doing best? I'm like, just top 7 franchises, Dad. It's not that hard. Like,
yeah, I'm sure he got it.
The Yankees on there. I'm like, but I don't like the Yankees. He's like, so it's your favorite? I was like, no, it's just top.
It's one or the other, Dad. I don't know what you don't understand.
I just said, okay, boomer, and I walked away.
Yeah, it's our list. It's my list. I can make it whatever I want.
Apparently, we're boomers now, but that's according to the TikTok generation.
We're Zoomers, right? Or
I don't know. Who fucking knows? I can't keep up with it. But yeah, so the Los Angeles Lakers. I grew up watching. I still to this day watch almost every single game, and I went through some dark years, man. When we had like Jody Meeks and Robert Sacre and Carlos Boozer starting Lakers games. Those were some rough years, but you know what? I watched almost every single game. I watched us get murdered by everybody because that's what true fans do. And I'm sick of this bandwagon bullshit. I love. I stick to my teams. I'm a Padres fan. I'm a Chargers fan. So at least I get the Lakers, At least I get one team that has been successful. So, I grew up watching Kobe, rest in peace. I remember specifically like one game where I think he hit a game winner against, I want to say it was the Suns. But I was like in middle school and, I had to go to my baseball practice. I came home and I had recorded the game and I had to eat dinner and do my homework and go to bed. So I waited until my parents went to sleep. And then I snuck back downstairs to watch the Laker game. I did this sorry, Dad, but I did this repeatedly. And I remember this specific game because Kobe hit this game winner. He was off 1 foot from, behind the 3-point line, banked it in at the buzzer to win the game. And I'm jumping up and down downstairs at midnight, trying not to scream because I was so excited. Yeah, literally, that's how much I love that franchise, and they've been so much a part of my life, and I will continue to rep them forever.
And I would say, you can't, obviously, different sports, obviously you have the same love for the Chargers, but who, if you had to choose, are you a bigger Chargers fan or a bigger Lakers fan?
If you ask me during football season, I would say Chargers fan. If you ask me during
100%.
Basketball season, I would say Lakers. So I don't know if I can choose.
And during championship season.
Yeah, exactly. And the Chargers have brought so many years off my life.
Yeah.
So
did the Lakers. Yeah. I remember in high school.
Because the thing is, the Lakers are either really good and will go all the way and win it, or they just have been really bad. So the Chargers, the problem is they're always on the cusp. They've had some really bad teams, but the worst thing about being a Chargers fan is they will get so close and they will lose at the last moment. For years, they have done that. That has been the Chargers' MO. They have that thing copyrighted. If you lose by less than 1 score, the Chargers can sue you because that is their thing.
Yeah, they trademarked it. But I can attest. I remember hanging out with you in high school, and the first thing you would say to me, I watched the NBA. I would watch Lakers game. I'm not a Lakers fan for anybody who's listening. But Sam, every time we went somewhere, hey, have you seen the Lakers game? Don't tell me the score because I have it recorded and I'm going to watch it later. And I was like,
Yep.
Sam, they probably lost. They suck. And you're like, I don't care. I have to watch. I have to see. It's a problem. It's it's an addiction almost to the Lakers.
Oh, I'm addicted to sports in general, but especially to my teams.
Yeah, no, it's especially.
I've definitely been at work when a game is on and have my phone in an instance where I could definitely get in big trouble at a job that I care about. But the game is on. Instant addiction.
I remember I had to do that when we were betting on some stuff on a Sunday.
That's a whole other addiction.
Yeah.
So that's
my favorite franchise. We didn't have any video games on there, actually. I had a few on my honorable mention.
I put Grand Theft Auto was an honorable mention.
Same. I put COD too, because it comes out every year and it has for my entire life, it seems like. So obviously pretty good.
So that's our top 7. I know we went a lot longer than we anticipated, but I still have a conspiracy corner. I'm gonna put this on there.
Okay.
You heard the one in the last one, but I like a creepy little music after conspiracy corner.
It probably works better if we don't talk about it, though.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. Yeah.
One step at a time. So, all right, we're trying to get better at conspiracy corner. I know the last couple have been a little bit kind of off the rails. Not saying this one's going to be any better, but we're going to give it a shot. So, today we are doing the Wayfair conspiracy. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, for those of you who haven't heard, this was a conspiracy that came out during the pandemic, during the height of the pandemic. Now, Wayfair, for a little quick background, Wayfair is a company that sells, they're an app. I think they have an online website as well that you can use, but they sell a lot of furniture, home goods kind of things, like cabinets, dressers, pillows, couches, that kind of stuff. And the basis of the conspiracy is, let's see, I wrote a bunch of notes. I'm not going to read them. So here's the theory. Wayfair is trafficking children through their app using furniture as a decoy. So that is the basis of the conspiracy. So I don't know, Spencer, I don't know if you dove into this at all, but I'm just going to kind of go into it. And if there's anything that you have to add, let me know.
I will say up the top, this is a QAnon theory. I'm sure a few of those are going to come up over our span of doing Conspiracy Corner. But yeah, okay. Other than that, take it away.
So my initial thought when this first came out, I think it was during the summer of last year in 2020, I was like, this is interesting. What's going on here? And a simple kind of Google search, at least at first glance, really was like, okay, this is bullshit. But, okay, I got real deep in the weeds here. I was at work and we had a time where we were shooting and I had a time by myself. I had my computer and I really dove deep. So we're going to go, you guys are going to come into the weeds with me, whether you like it or not. So the initial reason that this came up is Wayfair was selling certain items on their website and on their app that were normally they would have a pillow that was normally less than $100, and it was listed on the website for $10,000, and they had cabinets that were listed for $20,000, and that were normally people looked that were normally regular prices, $100, $200, whatever. Mm. And these cabinets or these specific items had names. For example, one was Annabelle, and random the Annabelle cabinet or whatever. So some people on Reddit started doing some digging, and they started correlating the names of these cabinets or these pillows or this couch or whatever it was to names of missing children reports all around the country. So at first glance, that's kind of weird. Mm-hmm. What's going on here? So I wrote some questions. I was like, why are these so expensive? And why do these coincide with missing children's reports, right? So here's a case kind of against. I'm going to kind of go against the conspiracy first, and then I'll kind of dive into some deeper stuff at the end.
Okay.
So I'll read some of the notes I put. With a simple Google search, you can see that most of these kids have actually been found. since their initial missing persons report. So that's the first one. A lot of the people that they found that you were seeing on these Reddit threads and on these Twitter posts was you could just Google their names and you found, hey, like these kids aren't missing anymore. Like they were found, they ran away, they did whatever. Most of them.
Yeah.
And so people were like, okay, how do you explain the prices? Well, this is actually kind of a common retail practice where people or retailers will take an item that is out of stock, and instead of having to delete the listing off their site, they will just jack up the price to some unreasonable amount so nobody's going to buy it or even try to buy it.
Yeah.
And then when they get back in stock, they put the price back down to what it normally would be.
Well, and the biggest point that I heard about this too was like, what if a random person, right, some wealthy person who doesn't know how much a pillow costs, thinks that it's a luxury pillow, orders this, and is like, why is there a kid? Instead, I ordered a pillow.
Yeah. So, we'll continue. Let me get there. So,
okay.
Something I did read is they were saying that even if you did try to order one of these things, it would just tell you that it was out of stock.
Okay.
So I think the whole idea of jacking the price up is to just deter anyone from even being interested.
Yeah, I think
so that's kind of okay. So then I wrote that Wayfair, when this all came out, Wayfair did come out with a statement that was saying that this is what they were doing, but that it wasn't good business practice, and they took the listings down. Is that suspicious? Maybe. Who knows? You tell me. And that was, actually, then you kind of stole my thunder there. But that was the next point I wrote was, what happens if someone does buy a pillow for 10 grand and then, they buy a pillow and now it's some kid named Hector. What the hell are they going to do? That's weird. Like I feel like they would kind of account for that. Like, hey, like I didn't order this. Is there like a return label or something? How do I ship this kid back? I don't know.
Do I just bring you back to UPS, kid? I don't know what to do with you.
Maybe it's like Amazon, where you just hit return and then you just print out you just give them the scannable QR code for the return. You just give them the kid and say, all right, he goes back to, I don't know, West Virginia, wherever this came from.
I want my freaking pillow.
Yeah. I paid 10 grand for it. Like, I want this pillow. So anyway, okay. So here's where we're really terrible. Yeah, I know it's really bad. Yeah, human trafficking is actually like a terrible thing, and we're not making light of human trafficking by any means.
Yeah,
but
it needs to end.
This conspiracy is pretty crazy. So moving on, now we're into like the meat and potatoes of like, okay, there's some crazy shit that I read. So I got to that point where I just talked about where I was like, okay, this is obviously bullcrap. Like, there's very reasonable explanations for why these things are. So. There is this is where things get weird. So there is a Russian search engine, and it's called Yandex. Now, if you typed in SRC USA, and apparently some of the serial numbers from some of the said items on Wayfair, pictures of kids would show up. Okay.
That is very weird.
Being the idiot that I am, I said, I wonder if this is true. So I did it. And let me tell you, don't do this. Don't ever do this. Because I was like, actually, it was like, there was no like anything like illegal like on it. It was just pictures of kids. But it was like, it really weirded me out. Like I exited out immediately and I'm probably on some list now. But it was like, I was just wanting to know if this was real because I wanted for the listeners to know, like, you don't have to do this. Please do not do this. It is not good. But so that was where it started to get weird. It was like, okay, why? Like, is someone just doing some elaborate prank? I really don't understand what's going on here. So then, another weird thing. Okay. So there's a whole Tom Hanks aspect of this, so Tom Hanks' Instagram, he'll take pictures of gloves on the ground, like repeatedly.
Yeah.
And it's like some weird inside joke he has with his followers. And I didn't know this. So apparently he took a picture of a glove on the ground and next to it was a on the ground was in chalk. It said SRC USA, which is actually like a code for for maintenance workers who like it says like, oh, underneath this there's like a pipe or something like that. So it's
there's something that would require a service.
Yeah, exactly. So that's easy to explain. Okay, so
I think he left the glove and he got down there with it. I mean, that's got to be that's a reasonable answer too. And then took an Instagram of it to brag about all of the kids that he sells with furniture.
Yeah. So, okay, I'm going to get to the last couple points and then I'll make my conclusion. Okay. So the other weird thing about this is that apparently, I don't know if this still happens, but Wayfair did or does supply some of those border detention centers with their furniture that they have. Now, these are the detention centers where thousands of children have been reported missing. So that's a little weird. Mm-hmm. Now, when I saw that, I was totally on the this is bullshit side until that gave me a little bit of doubt.
Okay.
It's just something to keep in your back of your mind. And the last point that I didn't really write down, but I found in an article is, let's see if I can find it right. It's right here. I'll just read this article. It's on flare.com. So I don't know if this is a reputable news source, but I'm going to read it anyway.
Probably not. Yeah.
Probably not. And in addition, this is just a re-quote. And in addition to all this, an additional theory arose regarding a specific 2016 review of a filing cabinet priced at $5,000. Per Newsweek, which is a credible news source, in 2016, a user named Jana from Walnut Creek, California, an area outside of San Francisco, published a review on this particular product. Janet wrote, checked many other sites, and this was a great deal. Fast shipping, thank you. Seems innocent enough.
Yeah.
In February of this year, a man in Walnut Creek was arrested for human trafficking, child pornography, and attempted kidnapping, according to Mercury News. That this arrest led to uncovering of a much larger sex trafficking ring in that area. I don't know if, like, obviously it's just probably coincidence, but I'm just trying to get all the facts straight. So, in conclusion.
Yeah, because we as Californians know that nobody from Walnut Creek would ever get any furniture from Wayfair.com.
I don't even know where in the hell Walnut Creek is. So I know
it's a really nice. It's a really, really rich area outside.
Oh, it is. Okay.
I had friends I went to college with that live there.
Yeah, that's true. I'm not that familiar with that area. So anyway, in conclusion, because we're going to wrap this up. Do I believe that Wayfair is trafficking children through their app? No, I don't. Am I 100% sure? No, I'm not. I'm probably 99% sure.
So where does that leave us?
So I honestly think that the serial number thing is weird. I could look more into that. That could have been proven wrong. I don't know. Let me know if I'm wrong about that. And number two, the border detention thing is a little odd. That's kind of where my 1% lies.
It is.
The correlation to it is a little bit odd.
But also that furniture's got to come from somewhere.
Agreed. That's why I'm 99% to 1%. But it's worth.
Well, that's what I think.
Honestly, logically, yes. And logically, does it make sense that a company this big would be trafficking children just out in the open like this? No, it makes zero sense. But there are also, have you ever seen, like, what is it on True TV, like idiot criminals or whatever? Like, there's some idiots. So.
Yeah, I get that, but usually these idiots aren't selling children for $10,000 a piece. Like they're selling drugs, or they're telling the cops the pants aren't theirs.
Yeah, usually
it's a little different between having this massive website than good old Meth Bob down in Florida being like, "These aren't my pants. I just threw them on."
Yeah, usually they're not.
I don't know where the needles came from, officer.
Yeah. So, like I said, I'm 99% sure this is all bull. But there's always good to keep a 1% in case there's, in case you have any shadow of a doubt, it's okay. Yeah, and that's where the Wayfair
that conspiracy. Way, when there's a giant news story that breaks, that Wayfair, you can say, I knew it. I told you so.
Yep, exactly. All right, guys. Well, I know we went a little bit long today, but we had to give you some of that vital information about Wayfair. Do you have any closing
watch out.
thoughts,
Don't
Spencer?
order any $10,000 pillows.
Yeah, I wouldn't, because maybe you might have to pay for the return shipping on that kid, and it's got to be expensive.
Because Hector might pop out of that pillow. Yeah, Hector might pop out of that pillow.
Oh God.
No, I hope you have a good week, everybody. It was fun to do the podcast as always. Check us out, like Sam said, on Instagram, and try to find us on Clubhouse. We're live there now. So hopes everybody have a good week.
For sure. All right, guys. We'll see you next week.